I want to be an aquascaper, but I have some problems with that because I don't know if I already am an aquascaper or if I really do want to be an aquascaper. Let me take you back a little while. I went to the Aquah show a few weeks ago where I got to see some proper, internationally renowned aquascapers do aquascaping workshops, and some of them, George Farmer in particular, had brought one of his tanks, which I looked at and I stood in front of for several minutes going, yeah, I get it now. Because that to me was something that was on such a different level to anything I do that it made me question, what do I do? I obviously have lots of aquariums with plants in them that I have called aquascapes because I have decided I want them to look a certain way and I made decisions as to how I would lay them out. But they are very different to what you see a proper aquascaper do. So is it that they're just so much better than me? Is it that I have lower standards and I'm happier with things that they don't do? Or is it the art and I'm just not applying the art side of things? So join me for part 1 of Graeme becomes an internationally renowned aquascaper, or tries to. Followers of the channel will already know that I have made many tanks over the years where I have aquascaped them, and my usual approach to this is I take a load of rocks, wood, plants and kind of throw them in the tank and go whoa until I'm happy. Now some would argue that is aquascaping, that is what you do. You find a way to decorate your tank with hardscape and plants until you find something you're happy with. That's it. It's going to be a short series because I do that all the time. Some would say though that it's more about the mindset, about the way you create the tanks, and it is an art form, and it's more about whether it's rules or guidelines, that you're following the rules or guidelines to make certain types of scape and tank and get them right. It's never been something that I've really been able to, as much as I've read all the books and watched all the videos and all that kind of thing, it's never really sat comfortably with me, and I've been a bit rubbish at it. But I used to be rubbish at all kinds of things that I'm now a bit better at. So if I just try it and have a go and practice, can I get better at it? Another problem might be, when will I know? When will I know if I'm any good? How will I know? What defines an aquascaper? Do I just start calling myself Graeme Kerr, aquascaper? Get some business cards printed up maybe, something like that? Or do I have to make a tank, get it photographed, submit it to some publications? Do I need to enter some competitions? Do I need to be paid by someone to do some demonstrations or to set up tanks for other people? I don't know. There's also a little bit of division in the fish keeping world as to whether aquascaping is a good thing or a bad thing. So lots of people will say, yeah, but you don't care about the fish, you're only caring about making a pretty tank. There's a view that aquascaping is an elitist side of the hobby, that the people that do that think they're a cut above the rest. I think the answer's somewhere in between. I don't believe any of that is 100% true. So I want to break into it and see if I can figure it out, if it's for me or not. And ultimately, is it for you or not? Or is there several levels where we can all find a way to be aquascapers and answer all our individual desires to have beautiful tanks home to beautiful fishes, beautiful tanks that look nice, beautiful tanks that cater to the needs of fish that you want to keep, or just pieces of art and nature that we can bring into our homes? And do we need to follow all the rules to get there? So, in lieu of any other better plan, I'm just going to have a crack at it and see how I get on. Like I said before, I've done lots of things in the past where I've not been any good at it. And not being good at something I don't think should ever be something that holds you back from trying to get better at it. If you don't try, you're never going to get better at it. So, I'm rubbish at aquascaping, let's have a go. My plan as it is to take a tank and clean it up and try a style of aquascaping, trying to follow all the guidelines, trying to see if it makes sense to me, and ultimately, can I make something that looks alright? I'm going to start with this one, so let's clean it up. I did say that this is going to be a series, and it is going to be a series. It's just not going to be a very sequential series, because this is something that's going to take me a long time, I think. I do have a lot of fish tanks. Over the last year I've been trying to cut down on the amount of fish tanks that I've got. So I have limited space and resources. I will be doing this sporadically, let's say, where every time I move some tanks around, I have identified kind of 2, 3, maybe 4 tanks that are going to need rescaping in the near to middle distance future, and they will be my test subjects for now. I'm also coming at it from the point of view of budget is very much a factor. I cannot go out and spend thousands of pounds on equipment, on substrate, on plants, all that kind of thing. So I hopefully will make this something a little bit more relatable. And the third thing is I'm going to concentrate on the aquascape. I'm trying to make something that fits into the barrier, the boundary, the circle of aquascaping. But I'm also trying to figure out what that means at the same time. So I will make mistakes. I am relying on you guys to help me out, to give me feedback, to let me know that something is on the right lines but not good, way off track, absolutely abysmal. Graeme, stop it now, set fire to your fish room. These are all welcome comments. Along the way, I might set up tanks temporarily. I don't really subscribe to the chopping and changing constantly, but I might have to, just to get the practice in, set up some tanks that are going to be temporary tanks and then rip them down again and try again. And those ones I'll try not to use fish, but I know that using fish is definitely an important element to a lot of aquascapers, as the fish is the final piece of the jigsaw that finishes it off and provides the look, and less important to others. So that's my reasoning. So I took myself off to the shop and bought some nice black lava stone that I found, and decided on iwagumi as the style that I wanted to try, mostly because it's something I've never done before, and I like the idea of the minimalism and the very clear thought process behind it. So it has names for this certain stones that you position in a certain way. Usually you have at least 3. I think in the end I ended up having 5, but grouped as 3 stones. Here I'm just using some super glue and cotton wool to join 2 stones to get a shape that I like. So I went to the effort of chiseling stones out so they fit together and look a little bit more natural. I had this idea that I could create fissures in the stone and fill that with moss, and that would look nice and natural. I'm just using some of the dust from the chippings to cover up the cotton wool so that doesn't stand out anywhere. But I spent a lot of time just with like kind of makeshift dojo on the floor, moving the stones around, finding the right look, and I found that quite enjoyable because it is a very minimalist approach to aquascaping. So you're not using a lot of things, there's not a lot of plants, usually not any wood. It's about getting stones that are prominent and work together well. So I did spend a good couple hours moving things around. Obviously I've only filmed a little bit of it, but there was a lot of time of me sitting and staring and thinking, is that right? For the layout of the tank itself, I've just used a little bit of alpha grog here. I'm building up. I want a little bit of height towards the bank, banking down from the back left to the front right. And I've talked about this in previous videos before. I have all my old substrates from previous tanks. I keep it all because it's full of nutrient rich all kinds of stuff to give it a little bit of a help. I've used some NutriBase, so I've got that as my aqua soil, if you like, because the plants that I'll be using will be root feeders, so I want to give them the best chance. This is all about the plants, so I'm doing everything I can to make the plants do the best they can. I'm just using some normal sand here. I used, for inspiration, I went on the IALPC, the International Aquascaping Competition, and looked the past few years at some of the entries there. So this is very much inspired by some of the iwagumi ones there. I made some very deliberate decisions not to do what I would normally do. So normally I would go with a big stone piece and then have lots of stone chips or smaller pieces around it to make it look a lot more natural. I noticed that, well, some of them did do that, a lot of them didn't, and I thought that would really push my boundaries of not doing that and seeing if I could still make something that looked kind of right. Here I'm still messing around with the right number of stones. There's kind of an unwritten rule that you do odd numbers, you go in 3 or 5, but for a long time I really wanted to use 4 because 4 looked good, but I found something in the end that I think looked good. I'm trying to find some kind of flow with the stones and how they work together, and if I understand any of it correctly, there's kind of meant to be some kind of opposition in one of the stones. So you have 2 stones that are forming a way and another stone fighting against it and giving a bit of drama and a bit of dramaticness to the tank. So I'm just doing some final fiddling here, getting the sand right. And this is where I was talking about the little fissure in the rock. I've got some of my moss here that I'm trying to fit into that. This is the moss. I'm not quite sure whether I got sold a dummy or not. I'm noticing it now, but you see that little red speck there on that rock? That will come to annoy me greatly when the tank gets filled up, but I didn't notice it at the time. So yeah, we've got the moss in. I've got some hair grass as well. Only using a very minimal amount of plants, different types of plants. So I think 3 in total I've used. I wanted to use a couple more, but we've stuck with 3 for now, purely because I couldn't find some plants that I wanted to use. So this is trying to get in a carpet of hair grass. Again, didn't have enough to buy as many pots as I wanted to fill it up completely. This is going to be something that will have to evolve over time, and it should fill out. I am planning on using not necessarily a high-tech tank. I'm going to use a decent light, and I'm going to use CO2. So hopefully that will give it the best chance it can. This was an incredibly tedious process. I am never using hair grass again. This literally took hours. I did not enjoy this. This is the second plant. This is the, I can't remember the name of it. I'll pop it up here. Leoprinus Brazilianus, something like that. A little bit of a taller plant. It's not normally a background plant, but because I'm using the hair grass and that's going to be kept quite short, I wanted to give something that had a little bit of difference either side of the rocks. This is where I pick up the tank and the rock falls over. You're lucky there was no sound at this point. Unfortunately, this tank, the only space I've got for it is on the very top of this unit, so I thought it would be easier to build the main bulk of it down at the bottom and then move it. Well, it's nearly done. Just about everything that could go wrong went wrong. So I don't know if I caught it on camera, but we'll see in the edit. When I actually tried to lift it up there, which is where it's going to live because that's the only space I've got for it at the moment, I almost dropped it and the rocks collapsed and crushed some of the plants and bad things happened. I can't find any aquascaping tongs. I've either got these enormous stupid things or the little bitty ones that you saw me with earlier, which I've now lost. I had a little hang-on back filter that I was going to use, which I can't find, so I've got a little tiny thing on there which will do for now. So there's not actually any fish or inhabitants in there at the moment. When I went to turn on the CO2, my CO2 had run out. Yay! So I've been and filled up the CO2 bottle. It's not a heavily planted tank, but as I said, budget is one of my considerations for this, so I've got 3 pots of the hair grass in there, so giving it some CO2 will have it the best chance that it can to help that fill out as quickly as possible. I've ordered a frosted glass background for the back of the tank as well, which I think will make it look a lot nicer, and you won't be able to see the plug socket behind the tank, for instance, which will help with the end goal of photography. It is what it is. It's a start. So this is the baseline. In theory, I can only get better from here, but let's have a look at it. So imagine a frosted glass background. As I probably said in the voiceover, I was going for the total minimalist look. I didn't want to add any small pebbles around the bottom of the 3 structures there. Well, I did, and I tried it, and I couldn't decide if I liked it or not. I was looking at some of the IALPC pictures, and a lot of their Iwagumi style ones don't have that. It is just the minimalist look. So we've gone for what hopefully looks like 3 structures, so you can have the proper minimum of 3, but it's actually 5 rocks made to look like 3. You've got the two on the ends giving the impression of some kind of flow in the same direction. The one in the middle kind of giving a little bit of distress to that and flowing against the grain. That was the idea anyway. Again, plants, I wanted to go with as minimum as possible. I've gone with the hairgrass and the Leliopsis brasiliensis and the moss. So that's the Taiwan moss, which the more I look at it, the more I think it's just Java moss and I've been missold. It will all grow in more, hopefully. That is the plan, that over time, give it a few months, and this will get a little bit lusher, a little bit greener. But greenest around the rocks, and then kind of dying out as it spreads slowly towards the edges, so you'll always see a little bit of the sand. I kind of like the height, I kind of like the layout. There is a slope from the back right down to the front, back left down to the front right. I did want to add one more plant, so I had an idea, and my original plan was to use some like Monte Carlo or Cuba, but I couldn't find either of them in any of the shops around here. I didn't have any in stock myself. So we are going with this, and the idea is to be minimalist, and I thought at the start of this might be the easiest one to go for because it is so minimal, but it's probably more challenging than any busy aquascape I've ever done before, because to make minimal look like something is very difficult. I don't know if I have achieved it. Obviously, when this does get finished and grows in properly, I'll take out the filter and I'll take out the CO2 and we'll have a proper photograph to see if I can get something that looks nice. I'm thinking of just putting in some shrimp as some inhabitants, but I'm kind of happy with it. It looks okay. There's obviously loads of improvements I could have made and probably should have made, so that's where you guys come in to let me know. The things I'm not sure about is the moss line. I thought that would give a more natural look, as if it was something that had like crept up a crevice in a cliff face or something like that, or give some little bit of intrigue into what's going on in there. I'll need to live with it for a while to see if I think I've actually achieved that or not. I'm really not happy about this random red bit in the middle of that rock that I didn't notice until it went in. Or it wasn't as noticeable until it went in. I do like the fact that this is black lava stone and it isn't uniform. It's similar but not the same. I think that helps with a more natural feel. Again, something I need to live with is the height of that rock on the left. It is millimeters from breaking the surface, and it kind of feels like it's a bit like, well, are you trying to break the surface or are you not trying to break the surface? Again, it's more fiddling. I might push that down a bit and make it a little bit more deliberate. But I think I'm done. What do you think? So, there you go, guys. That is my first attempt at becoming a pro aquascaper in the bag. Now, obviously, that is a little bit tongue-in-cheek. I mean, no disrespect to any actual aquascapers who put their heart and soul into this. It's their art, it's their life, it's their how they make a living. It is a little bit tongue-in-cheek of me. I mean, I have to have a goal, but I know that I'm a long, long way away from being a pro. But I have enjoyed the challenge of it. It has been a challenge. This is not something I've tried before. I've tried a different type of scape than I would normally do, and I've tried to approach it in a different way than I would normally do it. The whole minimalist vibe, the whole order and structure of the Iwagumi is new to me. It's different. It's difficult. So I think I do have to keep trying all these different styles to find out if I have a style and what style suits me the best. So there will be more of these. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So make sure you click that subscribe button and you'll see the future attempts. And in the future attempts, I will update all the previous attempts. So this rack here is going to become my aquascaping rack. All these tanks are going to be, they're due for a move around and a change around anyway, so they'll be set up with new scapes and we'll be trying different things. If you have any comments, feedback, all that kind of stuff, please don't feel afraid. Get them in the comments. Let me know what you think, good and bad. If you have any suggestions for what I should try next, what style should I try next, what improvements should I have done there, I hope I've covered my intentions so that it's not just omissions. They were deliberate choices not to put in scatter stones, to all those things. I'm not saying it's the right or wrong decision, and I'm not saying that's how anyone else should do it, but that's why I did it. go and look at some of my older videos, go and look at some of my planted tanks. Is there any you want me to emulate again and try and improve on, that kind of thing? Any styles you want to see in the next one, let me know. Come and join me on a Friday night at 9 PM most Fridays, not this Friday if you're watching this when this comes out. Discuss it with me live. Thank you very much for watching though. Go and watch another video. Bye! I've just had my delivery of the frosted glass window tint and I've applied it to the back of the tank, which then went crack, and the bottom pane of the tank completely cracked. Not because I applied the window tint to it, but it is just split right across the bottom of the tank. So it does not hold water, aggressively does not hold water, has soaked everything on that shelf. And yeah, unrepairable. It is split the entire length of the bottom pane of glass and a couple of times across the width as well. Maybe aquascaping's not for me.